Stand tall after the fall be Minh Quang Li. There is a moment in every life when the ground disappears. When everything you built seems to crumble, your plans, your strength, your confidence, even your faith. You stand in the dust of what used to be, staring at what's left, and ask quietly, how do I begin again? That moment, the fall is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your becoming. Falling is not failure. Falling is gravity teaching you humility. It is the universe saying, grow deeper before you rise higher. Because every fall hides a seed, a lesson, a rebirth waiting beneath the pain. 1. The myth of constant rise. Our culture loves the rise, the victories, the breakthroughs, the highlight reels. We celebrate success, but we avoid the silence after collapse. But life is not a straight line up. It's a rhythm. Rise and fall, bloom and decay, day and night. No tree grows to the sky forever. No wave climbs endlessly. And no soul evolves without breaking. The fall isn't a punishment. It's a pattern. The necessary pause between what was and what will be. If you only live for the rise, you'll never understand the beauty of standing tall again. One day, you lose what you thought you couldn't live without. A relationship ends. A dream dies. A door closes you thought was yours forever. You fall hard. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, existentially. And when you hit the ground, it's not silent, it's shattering. But here's the truth no one tells you. Hitting bottom can be holy. It strips away illusion, ego, pride, noise, leaving only what's real. In that brokenness, life begins to rebuild you. Not as you were, but as you were meant to be. When you fall, stay there for a moment. Don't rush to get up. Listen to the ground. It has wisdom. Every scar in the earth carries memory of storms survived, of seeds protected, of rain that once hurt but nourished. In the same way, your scars are sacred maps, proof that you've lived, fought, and learned. Falling humbles you. Staying down teaches you. Rising again transforms you. Standing up again is not easy. Your legs tremble. Your heart doubts. Your mind whispers, what if I fail again? But courage is not the absence of fear. It's movement through fear. When Nelson Mandela walked out of prison after 27 years, he didn't walk with bitterness. He walked with grace. He once said, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Standing tall doesn't mean standing without wounds. It means standing despite them. Every rise after a fall adds strength you didn't know you had. After the fall, there's a temptation to rebuild fast to cover pain with distraction, to move on without reflection. But healing is not speed. Healing is depth. You don't rebuild by replacing. You rebuild by renewing. Like a city after an earthquake. Your soul needs inspection, not decoration. Find what's still strong, what's still beautiful, and start there. When Serena Williams returned to tennis after injuries and childbirth, many doubted she'd ever reach her old level, but she didn't aim to be her old self. She evolved into something new. That's the art of rising, not returning, but redefining. Failure doesn't define you. Your response to it does. When Thomas Edison was asked how he felt about failing 10,000 times, he replied, I didn't fail. I found 10,000 ways that didn't work. That is grace. Not denying the fall, but embracing the wisdom it offers. Falling can refine your purpose. It can soften your pride. It can strengthen your empathy for others who've fallen too. The greatest people you'll ever meet are not those who never fell, but those who fell and didn't lose their light. In every mythology, the phoenix burns before it rises. Its ashes are not the end, they are the beginning. You too will burn. With heartbreak, regret, exhaustion, despair. But if you let the fire purify you, not destroy you, you will rise brighter, Rebirth always comes through ruin. Look at Japan after the Second World War. A nation shattered, cities reduced to dust. Yet from that dust emerged innovation, culture, and resilience that astonished the world. Destruction gave birth to discipline. Ashes became architecture. This is the law of renewal. From ruin, rebirth. Sometimes the hardest part of standing tall is not trying, it's trusting. Trusting that the fall had purpose. Trusting that time will heal. Trusting that your story is not over. Viktor Frankl, who survived the horrors of Auschwitz, found strength not in control, but in meaning. He wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." That's surrender. Not giving up, but giving in to growth. Letting go is not weakness, it's wisdom. Because sometimes what we cling to is exactly what holds us down. You don't have to rise alone. Even the strongest trees are held up by the forest around them. Their roots intertwine, share strength, and keep each other standing. Find your forest, your people, your mentors, your community. Let them remind you who you are when you forget. Reaching out is not weakness, it's human. Even eagles need wind beneath their wings. Every fall teaches direction. If you must fall, fall forward, toward growth, not bitterness. Athletes call it falling forward, missing a goal but moving closer to mastery. Writers call it revision. Life calls it wisdom. The more you fall, the more accurate your aim becomes, not because you avoid mistakes, but because you understand them. Each fall writes a sentence in your story, one that says, "I tried, I learned, I'm still becoming." Resilience is not toughness, it's tenderness. It's the ability to stay open after being hurt, to hope after being disappointed, to love again after being betrayed. Resilience is faith wearing scars. When Oprah Winfrey faced abuse, poverty, and rejection, she could have stayed down. Instead, she turned her pain into purpose, building a platform that empowered millions. She didn't rise by ignoring her past, but by integrating it. Every resilient soul becomes a lighthouse, not because it avoids storms, but because it shines through them. Standing tall doesn't mean the ground is gone. It means you've learned to walk on it differently. The ground that broke you can also hold you. The same soil that buried the seed gives birth to the flower. Fall after fall, you begin to see the ground is not your enemy. It's your teacher. When you fall, fall with awareness. When you rise, rise with gratitude. That's how brokenness becomes beauty. Not every rise leads upward. Some rises lead inward. The world tells you to come back stronger. But sometimes strength looks like softness. Sometimes victory looks like peace. You don't have to return to who you were. You can become something greater, quieter, wiser, freer. You can stand tall not because you're taller, but because you're truer. To stand tall doesn't mean to tower over others. It means to walk with integrity, with your heart open, your head steady, your spirit rooted. It means knowing you've fallen, but refusing to stay small. Standing tall is an act of defiance against despair, against fear, against the voice that says you can't. Every morning you rise, you defy gravity, the physical and the emotional kind. That is grace made visible. There's a strength that shouts, and a strength that simply breathes. The latter is born after the fall. It doesn't need to prove itself. It just is. That's the strength of those who've suffered, healed, and stayed kind. It's not loud, but it's lasting. Gentleness is not weakness. It's power under control. 16. Standing. Tall together when you rise, lift others. When you stand tall, create shade for those still crawling. That's how the world heals, one act of shared resilience at a time. We all fall, we all break, but together we rise stronger. A single candle loses nothing by lighting another, and a soul that stands tall lights 1,000 others. 17. The art of becoming. Whole in the end, life is not about avoiding the fall. It's about embracing the journey. You fall, you break, you learn, you grow, and one day you realize the cracks let the light in, and the scars became gold. You stand tall, not because life spared you, but because you learned how to rise beautifully. Stand tall after the fall. You've fallen, yes, but you are not broken. You've stumbled, but you are still becoming. Your worth is not measured by how high you climb, but by how often you choose to rise. Fall, but rise. Break, but rebuild. Cry, but continue. Because one day, when the light touches you again, the world will not see your wounds. They will see your courage. See, Minh Quang Le.